Welcome to another Saturday night and taking it to the nub. I'm your host, Boston Jimmie, and tonight we've got a really cool show. You know, we normally talk cigars and some other things, but tonight we're going to talk about accessories. We're going to talk to a gentleman, Joe Gro. You may know him from Jew Estate in the past, but he's now working for a company called Quality Importers. And you're going to learn a lot about what Quality Importers is all about. But before we do that, we're going to announce a couple of advertisers, and then we're going to get right into the show. The ultimate cigar smoking experience. With Box Pressed, you can easily catalog cigars with your own virtual humidor. Quickly rate and record notes for any cigar using the Smoke Session feature. Receive intelligent cigar recommendations based on your personal taste profile and access exclusive discounts from top cigar brands. You can even shop your favorite cigars directly in the app, then automatically sync the order to your virtual humidor, plus so much more. Download Box Press today by typing bxpr.sd/install into any web browser and discover the world of cigars like never before. That's bxpr.sd/install. And today's show is brought to you by All Saints Cigars, a company founded in 2019 and headed up by industry veteran Mickey Pegg and his two friends, Martin Corboy, a successful restaurateur, and Frank Leo, an Air Force Academy graduate military veteran. As Mickey explains it, they were all sitting down, talking and smoking cigars, and finally they decided that they would do this thing together. It was time. Mickey said, "I decided if I'm going to work hard at it, it should be something I love. Besides, a tough day with a cigar is better than a great day doing anything else." Soon after, they began the process of launching All Saints Cigars, jokingly referring to themselves as the Holy Trinity: St. Michael, St. Martin, and St. Francis. They chose for their logo the cross of St. James, the patron saint of Nicaragua, the country where their cigars would be produced. You can check out All Saints Cigars at www.allsaintscigars.com. Let us get into the show. I'm going to bring in Joe Gro, good friend of mine, long time there with Drew Estate. Joe, how are you?
Jimmie, how are you, my friend? How's it going?
Sad you can never see my beginning of my show because you're in a waiting room.
I was in the waiting room, but I had my phone open. I was watching.
Oh, you were watching
so
it. Cool.
I saw the All Saints. Gotta love Mickey stuff.
I love Mickey's stuff, and this new app that these folks are doing. Box Press looks pretty cool. I've been playing around with it. So hey, there's room for everybody in this business. I love it.
It's amazing. It truly is. I love seeing everything that's going out there. I love seeing how everybody's doing. So how are you, my friend?
I am doing phenomenal. I mean, I cannot complain. My wife just made a homemade margarita pizza today with nice thick crust.
I saw that picture. That looks delicious. That looks so good.
I mean, that's from scratch. I mean, she had to make the dough from scratch and the whole thing, so it's a whole process. Yeah. She goes, "I have more. We're gonna maybe I can make some more dough and make another bread tomorrow." I said, "Stop it. That's what got us in the problem in the first place." I said, "This is a treat. We're allowed to do it once in a while, but don't keep making the bread because you love making it and I love eating it, and my body doesn't like that."
I mean, it's a good problem to have. I mean, I know I'm a pizza lover. I'm a pizza aficionado, so that's one of those things that a little bit of a challenge to me to say no. Actually, I had it for lunch as well, but I kind of like, no, I can have it. Go back tonight, heat it up a little bit, have another one. I'd be okay.
What are you smoking tonight?
I'm smoking the Espinosa Laranja, the original.
Oh, good choice.
That is one of my favorite smokes. I mean, Hector's a good buddy of mine. It's one of my favorite blends. I stopped in. I'm over here at my one of my local shops, my favorite shop, Cigar Bundles in Miami. So, Alex and Jackie's place, it's around the corner from me. So I grabbed a smoke and ready to sit down and have a good conversation.
That's it. And I'm smoking a Hoya de Nicaragua Numero Uno,
Oh,
which I got in a Easter Bunny basket trade. So
nice.
very cool cigar. One of my favorites out of that company for sure. It's
So
mild. I've been smoking too many cigars today, so go back
it's a
to it.
good choice. But so the funny story about that cigar is the cigar I smoked when my son was born. So
Well,
when I
imagine that.
when I came back from the trade show, well, I got the emergency call. It was 2019 at the trade show. I got the emergency call from my wife, and I pretty much was end of day 2 of the trade show, and I sat back and I was like, hey, I gotta go. I may have a baby by something waiting for me. So I literally took a backpack. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh crap, I didn't even think about the cigar I'm gonna smoke. I'm just rummaging through my bag. That was the only cigar that I had in my bag. Now my son was
Mm,
born a couple days later, but that's what I said. I'm like, that's going to be the cigar that I smoke. And actually, Juan Martinez, Dr. Cuenca, they actually gave me a box with a secondary band with Charlie's name and his birthday on it. So I smoke one every year.
that is very cool. And so you're gonna have at least what are they, 20 in a box or 10?
No, there are 24, I believe. So I have,
24s. All the
yeah,
way through college.
all the way through college, and I'll get to enjoy one when he turns, 18. So
And he'll get to enjoy one with you.
exactly.
There
So
you
it's a
go.
cool little thing.
I love it. So quality importers. I guess we should talk to some people about what quality importers is. I mean, I'm familiar with the company. There are others, if they own a shop, they're probably familiar. But for the general consumer, what is quality importers, and what does Joe Gro do as the director of marketing and communications for this company?
So Quality Importers is basically, we're a 23-year-old company that is the leader in premium cigar accessories. Everything under the sun that you use day in, day out to cut, light, store your cigars, humidify your cigars, we produce, we have hands in. You probably used our products all your life and not ever, never had one. So we're your one true source for all those needs. So what we have is a series of companies that our owner, Michael Giordano, acquired over 23 years. He started in his living room with Humidor Supreme. He had one model of Humidor. He had $15,000 worth of humidors, and built this empire basically of brands and companies that he's acquired, starting that includes Xikar, Humidor Supreme, Palio. You have Hydra.
Wait, he
We have,
owns Xikar and
yes, we own Xikar.
oh, okay. I did not. Now I got new info, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys own Xikar, you own Palio. So he acquired them or he formed them?
We formed Humidor Supreme, and then he's gone out and acquired all these other brands over time,
I didn't
and
know that.
it's become this massive empire. We have now we have well over 1,200 SKUs in our catalog. We don't own, but we distribute Stinky ashtrays. So
Right.
we have a bunch of brands that we work with and we actually own, that we sell, and we service consumers. We service the trade. The retailers. Everyone from top to bottom in this industry works with us, partners with us, and we're here to service your needs and to be able to provide an amazing experience for you. And that's something that, was cool when I knew it. Look, when I came to Quality Importers, I used their products my entire cigar smoking career.
All right.
There's products that I trusted, and some of them I didn't even know that I did, right? It's funny. I remember I started out like many people. I said, hey, I'm going to buy a CI sampler. It's that 10 count starter kit, right? You get 10 cigars, you get a lighter, a cutter, and a humidor for, at the time it was like $40 or $35, whatever, right? Well, what I didn't know at the time, that humidor, I got my first humidor was a Humidor Supreme. It was a Capri. And that was kind of how I started my journey. I literally started my cigar journey with Quality Importers, and so many people did. So now I've joined on this company as director of marketing to be able to message these brands, to talk about these brands and get them in front of our consumers, get them in front of their hands, let them learn more about the product. We have such a wide and vast portfolio and all the cool things we do, including things like Swag Bunker, where we have an in-house customization studio. We have a lot of really cool and unique items that are very different that makes us separated from some competition. So that's kind of what my job is.
So if somebody like a cigar group in general, if they wanted
Mhm.
to get, say, like, like branded Xikars like this, they
Yep.
just contact
They can contact
quality.
me. Yeah, they can contact us, and we actually can do that. Well, it's one of the advantages of the cool thing that we have. It's all in-house. We do it in-house in the US in our office in Weston. We have this amazing setup where we call the swag bunker. We have UV printers, laser engravers, and we can actually produce swag on all of on the majority of our products in low runs. We can do this thing, a custom item as low as say 12 cutters. We can even do one-offs. We can individually serialize them. These are really cool things that we have the ability to do. And we do that for our retail stores who want to brand, say, hey, they want a $2 cutter that they give away when they, when you buy a certain number of these cigars. Hey, you need a cutter. Here you go. I got it. But it has their name on it. It has their logo. It has their phone number. So when they inevitably lose it or give it to somebody else, hey, they pass it on. It's like your business card. That's a cool
Right.
little feature. It's a neat thing. Or you can put it on the Xikar. You can get it on that XI1, the XI2. These, make them completely custom to you. And it's a really neat thing that we offer.
Now, what is your like number one selling SKU?
Oh, well, I mean, look, we sell a lot of different things. So a couple of the big ones, I mean, look, it's funny, and it goes to the popularity of this, of the Xikar. One is Xikar, and I'll talk about humidors as well. You got to say that for Xikar, it's actually it's the V cutter, the VX2. That
Really?
is, and
V
it shows
cutters.
that's the thing, right? You
That's
don't think
telling.
of it's interesting. The market really loves an amazing V cutter, and that thing is so strong, so robust. It is one of the best selling SKUs in our portfolio. And it gives you that good solid deep V that you like, that you enjoy, and it has a great feel in the hand. It's solid. And that's something that you really like. And that's one of our top selling SKUs, especially in Xikar. And it's funny for me is because I always, I'm a straight cutter guy. That's what I prefer. But I know that the V cutter market is very robust and I see it all the time. I just didn't expect it to be as powerful as it is. There's a lot of love out there. They like having that, how it funnels that smoke just enough. It opens it up, but it funnels it just enough to hit your palate. It gives you that little taste. So that's number one. And then, I mean, we do we actually sell a lot of towers. So, those I don't know, Jimmy, do you have a 2,000 count house in your house, like a big tower?
Mine's probably about 1,200.
Okay. So we
It's a
do it. That's
medium
what,
sized tower. It's about
right.
what, 5 feet.
Okay. So we do really well with towers. In terms of humidors, also the Old Glory, we have a beautiful, it's about 100 to about 100 count humidor. It's fantastic, and features the American flag, Americana. Guys love that, and that's really well. And then in terms of other up and comers, look, you have one. I saw it in your hand already. You got Palio Squadra. This is our most recent release, but the Palio line is really booming right now for us. It is one of our fastest growing SKUs in the marketplace that people really are adopting to. Because I mean, look, at the end of the day, you can't beat this for a $10 lighter. It just works every time. It gives you an amazing light. You're not going to have any wonky burn cones or anything like that. It's going to gives you a perfect light every time. And for $10 with this big tank that, it has a nice little grip on it too. So
Yeah, I love the
if it's
tank.
slippery,
I mean, tank
you're gonna get
lab.
you're gonna get 100 lights out of that. You're gonna get
Yeah.
100 cigars without before you have to refill it. And
I
for
also
10
have
bucks,
I also have one of these,
there you go. Look at that.
2017,
That is a pretty nice
and
piece.
it
And I mean,
still works.
that's
And
the
I
thing,
love the
right?
action on it. It's tight.
It's
I mean,
smooth.
it's
It's
smooth and it's tight, and it's not loose in your hand.
well, let me show you this, which I think you saw at TPE. Now it comes in a V cut. So you
Yeah.
have, look at that, smooth, deep V, easy, all day long. And the best part of that is $24.99. And we've actually made that across the line in all of Palio for the cutters. All of them are $24.99. So you got a great deal, great price. And now it's going to be very easy. It comes now in multiple colors. and it's fantastic. It was one of the things that we released at TP was the new colors. The V cutter came out at the PCA trade show last year, and this year we just introduced colors at PPA. So it's a great, fantastic cutter.
Now, what's the warranties on like the Xikars and the Palios and stuff? I mean,
So
obviously the lighter probably has less of a warranty than the cutter does, I would think.
Well, so Xikar itself, let's start with Xikar. It's a little bit separate. Xikar is guaranteed for life. It has a limited lifetime warranty. What does that mean? If there's ever a manufacturing
Wait, it's like,
defect-
what does it mean? It means like when I was a little kid and went to the fish store and the guy said all fish are guaranteed for life. When fish dies, guarantee ends.
It pretty much, but a little bit better than that at least, because look, here's the thing. Xikar has the limited lifetime warranty. If there's ever a manufacturing defect, doesn't mean, hey, you dropped it, you ran over it with your truck, you lit it on, you threw it in the campfire and it melted down. Okay, we're not going to guarantee you for that. But if it is a true manufacturing defect, something's not working, something stopped working that it would be working before. Hey, make sure that, yeah, did you bleed it? Did you test it? Just, move the piezo a little bit. Is that all good? No, it's still not working. Okay, great. Send it back to us, and then we'll swap it out for you, or we'll offer you a credit and you can use that on, say, Xikar.com. One of the newest things, and I'll touch on this a little bit, short detail now, is we've recently introduced for the trade what's called the qualified program. For certain members of the trade who meet a certain spending threshold, they're actually now become what we call qualified. They're a qualified retailer, and they're actually able to swap over the counter.
I was going to ask you.
And we'll actually, in those retailers that will who are in the program are actually able to do that. That'll actually be starting later this month, that they will actually be able to swap over the counter if you have an issue. We just ask them, hey, make sure that the lighter's bled, do a quick little check on it. It's not a cosmetic issue. And then they can swap it right there for their customers, to offer them that level of customer service that they want, because that's a nice thing when you're a retail shop, right? How do you differentiate yourself from when you're online, from an online retailer or anyone else? It's about the service. It's about knowing your customer, taking care of them, going that extra mile. Our retailers across the country all do this. And now to be able to give them that little extra bump, that's a great thing. Now, all other lighters, so in Palio's case, you can just send it back to us. You have to spend, I think it's a $7 fee that you just send back. You can mail it into us, and we will replace any item that you have. So that comes with the warranty on Palio. If you ever have
$7 to replace a $10 lighter,
if you wanted to,
buy $10 lighter.
You can do that. And that's,
Yeah,
a little bit, but I mean, but on the, hey, if you have it with an issue with your, with your cutter or anything else, and remember, we have a $10 lighter now. We also have $14 lighters and more, more expensive Palio options as well. And then everything else, it has at least a 1 year 1 year guaranteed warranty on any of our items. We stand behind our product. That's one of the big things that we have. We always will take care of our consumer. We're available. Our customer service team, I'm available. I know, Michael Giannini, Alex Goldman, any of us will take a call.
Flamboyant Michael.
Oh, he's fantastic to work with. And he's getting out on the road. He's got some amazing stories that he's, from his lifetime of experience in the industry. And I mean, there's some fantastic ones. He's been around and seen it all. And it's been great working with him, just, to hear that and learn from him. So we take care of all of our stuff.
I'm as an engineer, I'm always curious with gadgets, right?
Yeah.
And things. And I always look at, I'm a big guy that's into failure rates and looking at cause of failure and stuff like that. I part of my life lives that way. Right. If I look at take a Xikar, a good Xikar lighter, what is the most common failure that you see coming in on a lighter?
It's anything that that's mechanical or automatic. So like one of the things that you would a lot of see in some lighters, when you press down, it has that automatic flip top, right?
Right.
That right there is, that spring is kind of one of the more common things that's a point of failure.
What about the electrode?
Very rarely, the piezo, it might have an issue, but a lot of times that also deals with, hey, is there a little bit of corrosion that's built up over time? You got to just clean that off with a little rubbing alcohol and it'll work just fine. That's very little, especially when, the piezo electric, that's not necessarily the failure point. It's usually anything that's mechanical, like the trigger switches, anything involving them. That's where you're going to have potentially a small issue. But even then, for us, those failure rates are very, very, very low. And again, it really comes, it's like, hey, I've had this lighter for 10 years and finally a part gave out. You know what I mean? That's one of the things. We do get occasionally from time to time, something will come in, but realistically, you're talking like 1%.
I wish I had a lot of it 10 years because you know what? I keep losing them.
Well, Jimmie, I'm sorry, but you got to keep us in business somehow, right? I'm not. It's a limited lifetime warranty, not against loss or theft.
That's
I
right.
mean,
Exactly.
how many
Exactly.
lighters? I mean, you and I know when you're around this industry a long time. God knows how many lighters, cutters, things that
Or
just
you
they're
leave them
like,
behind, you're on a table, you forget it to put it in your pocket. And I've had some nice ones. And
oh, I do too,
you
and
just,
it's some just disappeared, and you just kind of kick yourself a little bit.
yeah.
It's one of those things.
So when you do like when you talk about the corrosion, for instance, do your certified or qualified retailers, do they get trained in something like that? So if somebody brought that lighter in, they look at it and they little rubbing alcohol on it and they fix it right in front of you. Do they are able to do that?
Yeah, so what we're giving them each is what we call a Xikar authorized warranty manual. And it's
Okay.
basically like, hey, you're going to get like four, because there's like four common issues that, hey, we just want you to check just to make sure before you send it back to us that it is actually a manufacturing defect and not minor issue. The most common, which though is bleeding, right?
Of
Did you bleed
course.
the lighter? That's something that you always ask when you walk into a shop. That is probably the most common issue. And even when we get lighters sent back to us, that's the first thing that our team checks, because I would say, a good percentage of them, they just didn't bleed the lighter properly or know to. And that's one
Yeah.
of those things. So that's one of the things that we definitely ask them to do. We check that. There is a minor adjustment you can do on, hey, a fuel valve adjustment, which literally you're popping the fuel adjustment wheel off the bottom by just unscrewing the set screw real quick, pull that off.
Right.
You take a pair of pliers. We have a video on this. You just give it a quarter turn, and then the lighter will be as good as new. And that's something that you can just check as well. Those are the two most common things. Yeah, we can check if you get a little bit of corrosion. You said, like, not corrosion, but a little bit of that char built up over the piezo or on the burners, the jets, just to make sure, hey, clean those off real quick in case the lighter, say it's a triple jet and only two were firing. Give it a quick thing, rubbing alcohol, but that's all in the guide that we give you. And that's just a quick, hey, check these three things real quick. It's very common sense kind of stuff, but that you may or may not know, or your clerk may or may not know. And now you can fix it and you're ready to rock.
So your friend and mine, Jerome Berry,
Yes, sir.
asks, what bleeder is recommended?
So we have a nice little item on that we offer. It's called the Xikar tune-up tool. What's great about this item, and I don't have one with me, unfortunately, is you can bleed your lighter. It also features a screwdriver so that you can do the fuel adjustment. It actually has two little vents on either side of it so that the gas isn't shooting back straight at you or going right over your fingers. It funnels it right out the side. And it's a great little item. That's it's a fantastic, just something to use. That's what I would recommend. We have them on at any of your retailers nationwide, or Xikar.com. And it's a great thing. Now, speaking of that, I know we got some probably questions coming in from the audience and some other things, but Jimmie, we forgot to talk about a giveaway. We got a giveaway tonight.
All right, let's see what we got.
So we introduced some items at TPE, and I wanted to give you guys a little prize pack. So for anyone who's dropping a comment, we're going to let Jimmie pick a couple winners after the show, and depending on how many people are tuning in and watching. So we got our nice, amazing little 5-count cigar caddy. And then you're going to get within that, you'll get the new Palio Squadra, great triple torch angled lighter. And then finally, you're going to get this amazing Xikar XI1 Flying Tiger limited edition. So we got two of these giveaway. Guys, drop your comments, drop everything in the chat. Jimmie will pick a couple winners. So we got some really cool giveaways for you guys tonight. So you got some amazing items that we want to do. And just a way, we want to reward the audience and thank you for having us tonight.
So we're going to do, so keep in mind is what we're doing tonight. So not Saturday at 1:00. We're doing this tonight at the end of the show. I'll let Joe do a little song and dance as I go through and pick the names, I hope, and we'll put it on a wheel and we'll run the wheel. Okay.
There you go.
So we'll figure this out. Or maybe during, we'll do it at the end like that because putting the
do it
wheel
again.
together. I got to pull the names up.
Jimmie, if you want to pull it tomorrow, we're good. Or you want to do it next Saturday, I'm good too. I just want to make sure everybody gets in on the show. They got some opportunities to win some cool stuff.
Yeah, pass the word. Get out there. No,
Exactly.
nobody's going to pass the word now because the odds go down.
Well, hey, get more people in. I'm always willing to give away more stuff. We got a lot of things here at Quality, so that's
I hear
help
you.
you guys.
Let me take our mid show commercial break, and we'll come back. We got a lot more to talk about, so we'll get the commercials out of the way because I love my sponsors, and I know we're going to talk about autism, and we're going to talk about some other things, and I want to talk to you about a little more of your journey before. So I want to go BDE, DE, QI
There we
kind
go.
of move, right? Make sense?
Sounds good.
All right. So let's drop this out here. And today's show is brought to you by Casa Cuevas Cigars. In the 19th century, Juan Cuevas, Spanish immigrant from Santander, began what was to be a family business which now spans 4 generations. Like others fortunate enough to live and work in Pinar del Rio province of Cuba, Juan commenced cultivating tobacco, turning it into a successful business. Following in his father's footsteps, his son Juan Jr. continued with the family business, successfully expanding it until events which took place in 1959 forced a dramatic change. Years later, in the Ciabo Valley of the Dominican Republic, Luis Cuevas Sr., Juan's son, carried on the family tradition of handcrafting fine cigars in the family's cigar factory, La Calera, La Sabana. Today, Louis Sr. is joined by his son Louis Jr., manufacturing and sale of premium long grill cigars at their factory, La Calera, Santiago, Dominican Republic. So check out Casa Cuevas Cigars at www.casacuevascigars.com and on their Instagram and Facebook channels.
Introducing Blackened Cigars, M81 by Drew Estate. A dark, bold, and unapologetic cigar collaboration.
My job is all about taste. So when James mentioned he wanted to create an exclusive cigar, I was stoked.
Like Metallica, Drew Estate has some of the most hardcore fans out there. I've known Rob Dietrich for years, and when he approached me to collaborate on this, we couldn't be more excited. I mean, Metallica, Black and Whiskey, and Drew Estate, what could be a better passion project? Needed to craft a cigar unlike anything in our portfolio.
One that would take cigar fans on the deepest, darkest, heaviest journey into the mystical world of Maduro.
Full-bodied with notes of espresso, leather, and dark chocolate. Blackened Cigars, M81 by Drew Estate.
Before you light your next cigar, be sure to check out Cigar Medics, the makers of the patent-approved humidimeter. The humidimeter is a tool designed to display the relative humidity inside your cigar. With this device, there's no more guessing. Simply insert the probes into the foot or cap of your cigar, and you can instantly know if your cigar is ready to be smoked. Buy now on cigarmedics.com and see site for other cigar accessories. With the humidimeter, you'll know when to hold them and know when to smoke them.
And today's show is brought to you by Bocock Brothers Cigars, a new and active brand founded by 2 Honduran brothers, Bryant and Douglas Bocock. The brand zeroes in on those folks that are looking for easy-to-smoke cigars inspired by unusual circumstances. Very importantly named after their very interesting and imitable last name, Bocock. Right now, Bocock Brothers is featuring their signature edition, made at the A.J. Fernandez factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. It features an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, a Nicaraguan Habano binder, and a Nicaraguan filler. Available in 3 popular formats, a Robusto, a Toro, and a Gordo. can check out Bocock Brothers Cigars at www.bocockbrothers.com. And today's show is brought to you by Platinum Nova Cigars. Platinum Nova is a family-owned and operated premium cigar company. Only the highest vintage tobacco and the most skilled hand workmanship go into the making of each Platinum Nova cigar. This results in a timeless blend of art and craftsmanship. The Nova brand and the family's work are a tribute and an honor to their grandfather to always remember him and his infinite passion for the finest cigars. Their love for cigars started with their grandfather, a dedicated master blender and entrepreneur in the cigar industry. So the next time you're looking for that exquisite cigar experience, pick up a Platinum Nova. You can check them out at Platinum Nova Cigars, www.novacigar.com, and on their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter channels. All right. I'd like to thank my sponsors. Without them, this show's always a little harder to do. One last thing we always do right now is a little public service announcement. You've heard me break the record again, and we're going to keep doing it. You all know that I am going to climb Mount Fuji in July. Those that are watching and may not know that, now you know. This is on StogiePress.com. You go to Climb for Autism. You can see the article about why we're doing this. It explains it. It's all about my son, Dominic, who got his doctorate in neurobiological research studying the autism spectrum. And he and I agreed that we're going to go climb the mountain called the Climb for Autism. You can click the link here or just scan that QR code. Go ahead. Just scan that code now and just drop $10. That's all you got to do. Just drop $10. Here's the good part. Monday, we're going to be doing a raffle. 3 raffle prizes are going out on Monday. There's a 5-pack, 2 5-packs from Mickey Peg and All Saints Cigars, and there's a 10-count box of Casa 1910s. These prizes are going to get bigger and better, we hope, between now and July as more and more people get involved. The odds of winning right now are pretty good, but as we get closer, more people donate, more people will be on the wheel, and you can win more than once each time. So if you win this Monday and we do another one of these again in a few weeks, you can win then too, possibly. So get out there, scan that QR code. It'll bring you to this page right here where you just click donate now on Autism Speaks, and you can see we raised almost $2,100 today. We want that number to go way up. Give us a chance. Help us out. Thank you very much. Let's get back to Joe.
Well, Jimmie, first of all, this is such an amazing cause. I know you and I have spoken on it many times, and you know, us here at QI, we want to support that. So I know you got some 5-packs, you got some stuff going out on Monday. Let's get some more donations in, but QI is definitely going to be donating an amazing prize. I'm thinking that we're going to donate one of our Valentino humidors that's worth about $450. We're not only going to donate that, we're going to donate a Xikar Revolution, an amazing new cutter that we came out with at the PCA trade show last year. And I'll throw in also a Xikar Meridian, our triple soft flame lighter. It is beautiful. It's an amazing piece. I'll give you those 3 items to add in. Each one of those is tremendous value, and I really want to get some donations in for you tonight. So let's hope some of the viewers going in, we want to donate. This is on behalf of QI, and hopefully we can get some more raised. You got you're at $20,000, $2,100.
$2,100.
Let's hope. I want to crack $3,000, and I want to crack $5,000. Hopefully in the next, within the next month. So next time you're going to run that donation, those prizes going out, we're in for this. We're here to help you.
Right. And again, I'm not throwing really big prizes in until those numbers go way up. Okay. Because it's important. It's more important for the donations. The prizes are a bonus, folks. Okay. This comes from the heart. So we want to really do the right thing. So thank you, Joe. Thank you, QI, for what you do and what you do for the industry and for those in need.
We're glad to help.
So let's talk Joe Gro a little. Let's go. you and I have had many a conversation, but it's always been around primarily talking state stuff. How can I help you? How do you,
Right.
the business of doing cigars at Drew Estate? Roll that back for me a little. Like when did you first get into cigars? And what was your like first jobs? I mean, did you work at a shop? Before that, did you work? We just talked to somebody last week that Diab, who started this whole world working with the vegetables.
So Diab's a crazy character. He is amazing. He has an amazing retail chain, and he's a crazy guy. But look, Jimmie, you and I have that shared history that we've spoken on. Both of us are electrical engineers.
Yes,
And how did we end up here? It's always one of those things, right? The cigar industry, I've heard described this way, and it's probably the best way possible. It is the island of misfit toys. We all end up here from different, ends of life. No one necessarily said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to work in the cigar industry from day one." Other than people who were born into this, right? You're the sons of farm owners, or brand owners, everything else, sons and daughters. They kind of were born into this, right? The rest of us, we all kind of just ended up here because we truly love this industry. We truly love the leaf. So for me, my journey started, I'd say 2012. So, again, for me, comparatively, I mean, I'm relatively young in this space. I mean, I'm only 34, but I was, in college, I would be smoking, being honest, right? Marlboro Reds and Black and Milds. That's how I would start. I would just have occasional of those. It's not like, engineering is not a high stress college curriculum. So that was one of my outlets. And I would, just have occasional smoke. But then I said, you know what? I really do want to try a cigar. So like I said, I got my start by ordering that CI sampler. I just recently graduated. I was about to start in my job. I was working at a healthcare IT startup at that point. And I said, okay, let me get some cigars. I smoked a Hoyo de Monterey Excalibur. This was my first cigar, Toro, in about 30 minutes.
it's funny. That's one of my favorite cigars way back in the day.
Let me just say, I mean, I'm sure it was, at the time, it was a great cigar. I didn't really remember it because I ended up on the toilet and was throwing up because I didn't know any better. But on the
It's not a Black and Mild, that's for sure.
No, and it's one of those things, right? You don't know, like, hey, you don't inhale, you don't, you're not puffing every 10 seconds on this. You want to take your time and enjoy it. But me, I immediately was like, well, a lot of people smoke cigars, so I did something wrong. Let me figure this out. So I started reading, and now at the time I was very into Reddit. And so I went to the cigar community there, and I started learning, not really participating. And from there, I actually started building my knowledge base, my passion, and I got to connect with local Redditors in the Pennsylvania community where I grew up. And I would be sometimes working remote and from the lounge, and we would meet up and we'd have a monthly herf. And I really got to meet a lot of guys that were interested in cigars, and we would talk and we would geek out. Hey, what was the latest blend? Did you try this? Let me smoke that. Oh, I just got this amazing new cutter. Let me see it. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, now I got to go buy one. And it built from there. The passion built from there. And then I started saying, like, making my recommendations. I wanted to share my knowledge with others. So I would talk to them on the online community. I would go in the store. I would make recommendations to regulars. I would say, oh, you like this? Have you tried this one yet? This new brand just started. Hey, they have this amazing Connecticut. I think this would make a profile. Well, I was doing that so much that the shop's like, hey, do you mind working here? Do you mind filling in? So I actually was working at a shop. It was called B&B Cigars in Germantown, and then, which is an amazing little boutique shop. Great. They had a huge Romacraft selection, great sales. And I kind of got my start there. And then more so, I worked at the lounge I was a member at, which was Cigar Mojo and King of Prussia. I think you've been there at some point.
Oh, yes, I was.
Yeah. And so I worked under Trey and Wade, and I was working over at Vince at B&B, and I was just doing it part-time. I would still have my day job doing healthcare IT, but at night or on weekends, I just really enjoyed talking cigars, smoking cigars. So I would share my knowledge and do that with the customers. And I got to learn the side of the business. What was great is under both of them, I learned under really smart retailers who taught me customer service, who taught me, hey, this is what you want, how you treat somebody, how you educate, how you upsell. These are all great tools to learn because it helped me see more of the picture of the business than what you would not necessarily see just as a consumer. And then from there, I started volunteering with Cigars for Warriors. I started as an event coordinator where I would go around to local events, preach the word of Cigars for Warriors, which is a fantastic charity, and collecting cigar donations and sending them off to one of our donation centers, working with our shops to mail those in and getting them out, getting them to support our troops. And it's a great cause, and I always believe in it, and I'll always support those guys. And then from there, so I would start kind of just jumping from there. Then I got to do a really cool experience in the summer of 2016. A lot of us in the Reddit community by this point, I became a moderator along with a couple others, one of them being Anfan, who's director of brand management now at Drew Estate. And he wasn't at the time. And we were just saying we were going to do a trip down to Miami because we were going to blend a cigar with Espinosa. And we were doing it with Andrew from Small Batch Cigars and out in California, who was we were friends with, and we all went together and got to meet Hector, Eric, the whole crew, and we worked on the blend. And that was one of the coolest experiences of my life. It was my first time in Miami. It was my first time meeting Hector or some of the other guys. And it was awesome. It was just like, it was one of those life-changing things. I'm like, I really, truly love this. I love this industry. I love it. Ended up going, and then, Hector has now become a lifelong friend. And it was just one of these cool things to just to watch watch him work is hilarious. It's funny. I mean, the amount of ball breaking and everything else. I mean, Espinosa, so you know how that is, right? I'm like, all right, this is home. Fast forward, I go to the PCA trade show, volunteering both with CFW and also as a buyer for B&B. Got to see my first trade show, which in itself, you're just like, it's eye-opening. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And you realize
like walking down Fifth Avenue and just seeing...
yeah, everybody's there. But you're trying to, is that when you're on a buyer side, it's like, you got to come in with a plan because you're zigzagging back and forth. You're doing all this thing, but again, learning more of the business, right? And I'm like, this is really cool. This is unique. It's totally different than anything else out there. And I want to say, okay, cool. I want to get in on this, but don't know how. I like volunteering. I like doing what I'm doing. Well, my job at the startup ended up, it was kind of weird, right? I saw a job listing posted at Drew Estate. I asked An, who just got hired the month prior, hey, about it. Like, hey, is this, tell me about this. What are they looking for? Is for a social media manager, a digital marketing manager. And I'm like, okay. Money was about the same what I was making. And so I'm like, all right, I'll throw in an application over the weekend. And I threw in my resume, and I did. The next day on Monday, my boss called me off. He's like, look, unfortunately, we lost one of our large clients. It was a small startup, and we're going to have to put you on half salary. And it's like, I'm like, I can't do that. So let's see what we can do for the next couple of months, try to move for the next, the next thing. But I already was like, wow, that's kind of a sign, isn't it? Right. You
right.
You're like, I just put in for a job that I was like, just a shot in the dark and everything. Fast forward a few months later, Drew Estate does, in fact, they make me an offer. I pack up everything in my car. I don't pack up everything in my car. I put most of it in storage. I take 3 sets of things in my car. It was my dog, my clothes, and my cigars. Because that's, I put the things at the time that were the most important. Literally packed everything up, moved down to Miami, and, the rest has been ever since. So that's kind of how I got into Drew and got really into working in the full-time into the industry.
What year was that?
That was 2017. It was April of 17. Actually, we're coming up now. I believe it'll be in my 6th year in the industry in a week. Well, on the manufacturing side,
Right.
So, and then obviously we worked at Drew. We've had a lot of experiences. Got promoted to senior digital marketing manager. Got to work on some amazing projects, some amazing launches, Freestyle Live, Underground 10. Again, these are really cool projects together. I mean, this is craziness. Obviously, going through the insanity that was COVID and pivoting, changing everything, how the world changed, how we all operated. And what was great about Drew was working on the innovation, being able to change things, to see different ways. And hey, let's try something different. Let's not be afraid to pull back and just do what the status quo. The status quo is never acceptable. We always had to push it. And that I got a lot of great learnings from there. And that's something that then towards, the middle of 2022, I started just saying, hey, you know, I want to see what other opportunities I have. I want to keep doing this, and I want to build something that, you know, obviously coming into Drew, you have an amazing support system. You have an amazing company around you with great leaders. And I wanted to go somewhere with great leadership, but build something else on my own and kind of really go out there and strike it. And I had this amazing opportunity I saw what QI was doing. They hired Alex, who I knew from his time at Drew. They hired Michael Giannini, who I've actually known for many years, from the shop level, and I used to be, I'm talking even as a consumer, I was always amazed and envious of what he would do with packaging in pushing the limits of things like Foundry. Like, yeah, I remember. And if you remember, do you remember the Foundry? It was the Wells, I believe it was, that had the gear on the ring.
Yeah. I was gonna say the one with the gear.
And the coolest thing about that was there was a humidor that gear went to. And they would actually, and I found one, and it actually opens, it serves as the key to open the humidor. And that was one of the coolest things they didn't produce many of them, I don't think, but it was one of the coolest things of how do you tie a cigar to a product or a packaging or promotional item that I've ever seen. And it's like that kind of innovation. And now putting that on the accessory space, I'm like, there's so much we can do. There's so many different ways to approach it. So seeing for this is really, and taking, you want to go somewhere that the product is good. Xikar, Humidor Supreme, Cigar Caddy, these all have amazing products. Palio. These are great brands, strong brands of great product. And it's like, now let's give them that extra push. Let's give them some of that innovation. Let's give them some of that messaging that they need and really amp this up and bring it to a new level. And that's what I've been working to do here at QI. And it's been fantastic.
So that is obviously an amazing journey, and a huge shift from being an electrical engineer. Okay. Because my journey in electrical engineering went electrical engineering to systems engineering to doing project management and doing manufacturing. Right. I all spectrums of getting a product, big systems out the door, right? And
right.
That's what I still and now I'm in the big software space where we design all the cool software, simulation software, test software that just manages this whole process. And I'm getting ready to retire in a few years, and I've seen an amazing journey. And of course, along that journey, somewhere about 10 years ago is when I decided I'd start talking about cigars, even though I've been smoking them since 1977. Right. And I could appreciate to have the balls to just jump out of a rather secure, most of the time it's a secure job, okay, in an engineering field, to dive into something completely non-engineering, but I'm sure you're able to use your skills to make what it is you're doing better, because you have that critical thinking capacity to do what you have to do.
Well, thank you. Look, 100% right. Look, at the time, I took a chance because I was 27. I said, look, how often do you get a chance to work in an industry you're truly passionate about, like really have an opportunity to do it? And I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work out, guess what? I have my degree. I can always go, my skills are solid. I can always brush up on anything else. If it flames out, no big deal. I was young. It wasn't attached. It was a great time to do it. And I truly fell in love working on this side of the space. And my engineering background lets me see things differently. It let me approaches problems, looking at data, looking at the true understanding. And it's not just, look, so much of this industry, and it's funny, it's because realistically, a lot of times we're very bass backwards. I don't know, about how we do things, because they don't trust the data. They don't have the tech that they want to see. And it's like, let's look at that. If you look at the data, look at the folks, let that tell you what it is. Don't trust this. Your gut's important. Don't get me wrong. Your gut is important, but let the data also prove it out, because sometimes you could think, like, look at the V cutter, right? When I came into QI, I said, there's no way. It's got to be the XI1. It's got to be the top seller. Hands down, it's the most iconic thing that, in terms of under the Xikar portfolio that we have. And I'm like, well, I was wrong. I knew, and guess what? I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'm happy to see that because now you understand. Lets you better see the market and better see and make those decisions that you need to from a business side and everything else and a marketing standpoint to be able to better talk to these things. And that's a really cool thing to see.
Now you've obviously been down to the factory back
Mhm.
during Drew Estate days.
Of course.
The first time you went into a factory,
Yeah.
with your engineering knowledge and head, it strikes me when I walk in, it's not totally chaotic. There is a process that's involved. It is an extremely manual process for the most part. Did you ever sit there and look at that and go, man, I can make this so much more efficient? But then realize you put people out of work, and this whole industry is about keeping people employed down in Nicaragua, Dominican, and everywhere else.
Well, the thing is, right? It's like you think that you can there's definitely things you could always try to make more efficient, but you have to realize that Nicaragua is a third world country, that there are some limitations, that this is a premium product. It's handcrafted, it is handmade, that you want to sit there and say, like, the love and the passion that goes into this, that this is someone who is so skilled and trained at this that nothing could necessarily replicate that in the same way. Yeah, it might be standardized, you might be the same, and it's not to knock any machine made product out there or anything else that exists, but there's a soul that goes into these cigars. There's a soul to a factory. And it's funny, it's one of those things, it's like, you hear a cigar, oh, they switch factories, and it's like, oh, but it tastes the same. Does it? Because a factory has a soul, it has a taste, it has a piece to it, and that's something that's really powerful. And it's funny when you talk about these cigars, and it's what, again, this industry is so strange in this way, like how we talk about product or how we enjoy a product. It's completely handmade. But when we light up a cigar, there's a ritual to this. There's a ritual that we do. Now, some of the guys that smoke 10,
You saw me. I will never light a Connecticut without a cedar spill.
There you go. And that's one of your rituals.
Because I never want to scorch this with a torch. This never gets a torch on it because it's going to pick that up so fast, and you're not going to get the true flavor, that you want. And I cold puff more than most people cold puff on a cigar.
And that's what works for you. And for me, it's okay. I'm going to go in for a night that I'm actually going to sit down and enjoy a cigar. There's times I'll just smoke to smoke, and I do that quite often. But I'm not saying, okay, I'm going to sit back tonight. I'm smoking something new, something that I really want to enjoy, something that I love. I'm going to sit down. First thing I do is I pick the cigar. And then I say, what kind of mood am I in tonight? And then I go to my accessory. Like, I have an accessory box, and I have a couple of them, different ones. And I say, like, what in my mood? What cutter do I want? What color? It's not even just about the style of cut. It can come down to the cutter, the style. Like, I mean, look, I have things that I just have the metal perfect cuts. I have our Xikar pieces. I have the mammoth cutter, the XI3 that has the mammoth toast when I feel really fancy and I feel like, you know what, I'm going to be that kind of guy tonight, that I'm going to cut cigar with the husk of a 10,000-year-old dead animal. This is what I feel like tonight. This is my mood. I'm in that. But that's one of the cool things about accessories. It does that. It adds to that ritual. It's like, what mood am I in? I'm going to
one of those.
Exactly. The Finlam. Those are great guys. Pierre and Pablo. All these.
That's
amazing,
a special cutter.
In a certain mood, yeah, that's what you're going to want to go with. So you pick that, and then you pick your lighter, and then you say, okay, like am I going to light am I smoking the Connecticut? I'm going to light a cedar spill. Am I going to do a single torch? Do I want a triple? What ring gauge am I smoking? Okay, how's that going to play into this? All these come in and say, and then I get my drink, and then I sit down. But these are all decisions that we have to make. And that's what kind of is the cool thing about playing into this now, coming from me on the accessory space, is I'm not just picking your cigar, but I'm kind of setting your whole mood. I'm setting how are you going out for the night, or how are you going? And then we offer, make sure I have a product that fits that. And how do I talk to that? And that's kind of a really cool thing to be a part of that, part of your ritual.
And when you and it's funny you say that, because that's very true. And there are some people that probably just got one cutter, one lighter, they don't care, Bic, whatever. But
right.
I remember years ago I did an interview with the Cigar Babes out of Wisconsin. and they sent me and they're a group that goes around the different shops. They raise a lot of money to bring clothing down to Nicaragua to help the children and the families, especially single moms. And what they did is they did a survey. It was a small survey. It was about 500 female cigar smokers that they surveyed about their experience, what, their pet peeves and their things and their likes and their dislikes. But one of the most telling things is that a woman cigar smoker has a lot of different accessories, just like she has a certain belt that goes with a certain pair of slacks or a certain dress, a certain necklace, a certain this, a certain that. The watches are different. The thing, the pen is different. Everything is for the moment. And then they bring their accessories with them, and they've got different colored lighters and different colored cutters that they have for certain moments that they go out with, right?
Right.
So in quality importers, what do you do to appeal to that demographic? What I just said, how does that?
So I mean, the female smoker and all smokers in general, because I don't think it's just limited to female. Because, like I said,
I think there's more. I think there's a little more on the female side,
and that's just natural. But it's offering multiple colors. It's offering different colorways. We're exploring different products that are even unique for the women's smoker market. Things that it might appeal to them. That it's not just, remember, we want to be inclusive. We want to have a product for everyone. That's one of the biggest things about QI, which is great. And again, we are your one true source for all of your premium cigar accessory needs. That includes the female smokers, the women smokers, all markets, everyone out there. So we have different colorways, different styles that appeal to them. And that's something that we like to do, is just to be able to offer that and continue to offer unique, styles for them. And I think that's something we go through. And then you see that not just through what we do right now. We actually empower women. We actually just did our global NFT gallery collection. Those were done, both the artworks for those were done by two different artists, female artists, digital artists. One was based in Iran and the other is based in India. And being able to let them have their voice shown on our different artworks that we put out there and products that we sell, and let them earn a royalty off that. It's a great thing. It's a really cool thing for them to do. And that's just something that we introduced in the fall. Our owner, Mike Giordano, is very much into the digital community, digital art community, the NFT space. And we were able to launch these products and bring them to market. And they were very successful. And
I was going to say, they've been successful for you.
Oh, yeah, they were super successful. I know. And the Calavera series, people love that. It has a unique sugar skull design. We put that on a humidor. We put that on an XI2 cutter. And we put that on a crystal ashtray, and be able to put that artwork out there. And what was cool about that artwork is not only does it feature kind of the sugar skull design, but it actually has little Easter eggs in there. They're talking about Easter. We got Easter coming up tomorrow. It actually has different Xikar pieces in the artwork. So you have the XO is the eyes. The XI1 makes up the nose. It's kind of a cute little thing in there for Easter eggs. If you look really closely, you wouldn't be able to know it otherwise, but it's just kind of a really cool piece. And being able to kind of support those kinds of projects. And hey, this is something we could spin up quickly. We have that in-house, those capabilities.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of the comments. Allison, Allison.
Hey, congrats,
Allison.
Congrats, Allison, on your new job. Excited for you.
It is exciting for her. She says her XO cutter is her favorite.
There you go.
Jerome Berry says, very informative interview. We try our best, Jerome. I always say that it's about the guests, but we like to get knowledge out there. That's really what these are about. So
Jimmie is an amazing interview. I'm just sitting here shooting out some bullshit, but Jimmie's keeping me in line and giving me some good questions.
Yeah, well, you'll say something and it'll trigger me. I want to go back to the factory for a second and the automation. One of the things I always looked at is two things, right? One is when you look at the leaf sorting, right? So the industry always use women to do leaf sorting because they have a better color coordination. They can pick out better colors and shades than men can. Yeah. That's a scientific fact, I guess. But you would think that's something that you could have machines to help you do that even better,
Yeah.
But they seem to do a really good job. The other thing, when you talk about the handmade, the craft that goes into making a cigar, especially when you're over at the rolling tables and you got the pairs and you got the one guy's putting that wrapper on at the end and the cap, especially the guy that's putting that triple cap on. And you watch how they do that. There's care in every bit of that to make sure that those lines look right and everything. And they do them very quickly, but they do it precisely. Then you get somebody, and this is my only dig on V cutters. Then you get a V cutter and you cut right across this guy's beautiful craze hole. Not everybody in that factory can put a triple cap on a cigar. There's only a certain number of people that do that, right?
Right.
That takes an extra skill, and you just cut across this guy's poor skill that he made it so beautiful. He's like, man, I don't need that.
Well, I mean, look,
The triple cap is designed is perfectly. So you cut right at the second line, right across the shoulder with a straight cut, and it's a perfect roll of time.
And there are guys who will just obliterate. They don't even know what a shoulder is, and they obliterate. I'll give you a quick story from my retail days. One of my favorite things that ever happened, I'll tell this story all the time. Customer comes in. He's like, hey, where are your Ashtons at? Okay, I take him to the cabinet the Ashtons were at, and I show him. He's like, you see those Churchills in there? How much are they? And, it's like $9.95. You see those Coronas in there? How much are they? About $6.75 at the time, $7. He's like, all right, I'm gonna take one Churchill. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut it in half, and now I get two Coronas for the price of one Churchill.
Lord.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm like,
people do that.
And you're just looking at the guy like, okay, all the craftsmanship that goes into the bunching, the laying of the leaf, getting it perfect, and this guy just cuts it in half because he thinks that's what it is. And look, that's how he wants to enjoy a cigar. I will never tell a single customer he's wrong. Now, I made sure he paid for it before he cut it.
Yeah, right.
But on the flip side, it's like, that's how you want to enjoy a smoke. That's how you want to enjoy a cigar. I want you to enjoy it the way it should be. And that's, again, why we design our products to make sure that they work. They give a beautiful cut, a clean cut every time, a perfect light. We don't want you to have a bad experience with your cigar, because you are paying, significant money on the cigar. You paid it for your lighters, your cutters, and we want you to have a good experience no matter what your products you use of ours. But that's one of the things that, hey, look, guys all have our own, we all have our own different style, our own different way of doing something, and let them do it. And all I know is I just want to be a part of your ritual. That's all we want to do.
So how's your little one doing?
My little ones are good. Charlie's 3.5 now.
He's a trip, man. I see the pictures of him. He's
a fireball. The kid has all the energy in the world. He is obsessed with dinosaurs, which is great. I love it. I mean, look, he has them every species memorized. He will, like, it was funny. We were up in Pennsylvania about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and he was with my brother. My brother was playing with him, and he was saying, "Oh, Charlie, here's your Tyrannosaurus Rex." He looks at my brother dead in the eye and said, "Uncle, that's a Carnotaurus." And my brother's like, "No, it's not." He's correcting him, and my nieces, they're 9 and 10. They are laughing. They are dying laughing because, like, my 3-year-old's correcting him. So, and he's like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yes, I'll see the little bumps over his head. That's how you know." But there you go. So this is, so he's great. It's cool is to watch him grow. He's, he's smart. He's clever. He has a never-ending source of energy, but that's just what a 3-year-old is. And that goes to my wife too, because, like, she instills in him the love of animals, always wanting to be outside, playing with them, picking up worms, lizards, whatever else. It's awesome. And then my daughter is basically, she's a mini me. So she could be the little couch potato.
Really?
She can be a little couch potato. She wants to just relax, watch a little TV. She'll sing the Disney songs, but I nicknamed her my carrot cat. So she's 2, but she's awesome. And what's great is both of them, they love each other. So they, they'll do their little fights now and again, which is also kind of comedic, just watching a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old kind of pick on each other. But what's really cool is they love each other. They want to play with each other. They go and give each other hugs, or they need to be like, one cries like, "Hey, oh, what's wrong with baby? Okay, you got to go check and see and just make sure she's okay." That's kind of the cool thing they have with them. And I mean, I'm blessed. Our family and my wife, everybody is they're amazing. And, that was, I guess, one perk of COVID, if there was a perk to it, is I got to be home for a good chunk of seeing them grow up. And
That's
seeing those
special.
early years that you just don't get to see most of the time. Most people unfortunately have to work or do other things and they miss some moments. I got to see a lot of them, and that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I didn't. When my children were growing up, I
You
was
just-
working.
right.
I sometimes 24 hours sleeping in laboratories.
Yeah.
And barely coming home. And then somewhere I decided to go for a master's in engineering, and I would, like, for 3 years of my life there, when I was home, I would lock myself in my office. My wife would have to knock at the door and hand me my dinner, and I closed the door because I was doing all this research and
Right.
and writing computer programs and stuff to do my master's thesis, and I couldn't be bothered. And of course, there was like special events. There's a soccer
Right.
game
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
Saturday.
No.
It wasn't every day that I had the continuous interaction. And
Right.
I think about how I work today. I work from home now. I've been doing it for 20 something years. My kids are all grown up, but if I had kids, they'd be like, I'd have them all around me all the time.
Exactly.
That's
And I mean, look,
special.
it is special. I mean, it has its own unique challenges, obviously, and we all learned that during that time. But it does have that ability to be able to see there and to have that, and that's something that I'm lucky and I get to cherish that. That it's not, oh, here's some pictures or some video of what happened. I get to actually be there. It's room next door. I could just walk right over as I was working and be like, oh my God. And then, and that was kind of a cool thing.
Do you have any animals in the house?
We have 2 dogs. So I have a mini dachshund. That was the dog that I brought down with me when I moved to Pennsylvania.
Is that the one that's always on TikTok with the mountain thing?
That's not him, but no, Murphy's great. Murphy's now 12. Yeah, so he's 12. So
he's an old pup.
He's the old guy. He's the old man of the house. A little grumpy, but it was cool as my kids love him. They sometimes a little bother too much, but they're very gentle. They love them. And then we just got last year a golden doodle. So
What a beautiful dog.
a beautiful dog. She's amazing. Hardest dog that I've ever had to train. I've never she's good now. She wasn't necessarily the brightest thing when I bought her. I was like, wow, I've never.
But they're a little goofy. Those dogs.
They're goofy. She's a goofy dog, but a lot of puppy energy. A lot of puppy energy. But now she's a year in. She's an amazing dog. We bought it because we wanted, a dog that was going to be really good with the kids. My wife wanted a bigger dog, and we're like, okay, we'll get that. And that's, we got her, and she's been great. And so that's what we have, and we have a fish, and then whatever animal, whatever lizard or something, that a frog or that Charlie decides to bring into the house that he finds outside, and he's like, look, I got us a new pet. I'm like,
yeah, well, having the older dog and a younger dog. I know we were watching my wife's niece went in for surgery, so we took care of her 1-year-old pit bull for about 2.5 weeks.
mm-hmm.
So we bring in the 1.5-year-old pit bull, my little Cocker Spaniel. He's 8 years old, and he's not really into big dogs until he gets to know them. So there's that growly shit. He wants to be the alpha too, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is a female dog, so it's it's not as bad. But what's funny is they would run out into the yard, and this pit bull has just got all this puppy energy. I mean, it's a big old lap dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she would run out, and Ziggy would run up on the side of her, and she would just throw her hip out and crossbody check him halfway across the yard, like, hey, and he'd be like, shake his head and was like, what's wrong with you? And then you get in the house, and we'd sitting on the couch at night watching TV, and Ziggy would be sitting down by my feet. He likes to lick my feet at night. He lays there and he licking it. And all of a sudden, this pit bull Stella sees him and jumps over to me. And then Ziggy's like, oh shit. And he jumps over to my wife. And then Stella looks over and jumps over there. And it's like, okay, Stella, you only get one human.
Right. You gotta
pick your human. And then finally Ziggy was going back and forth, and he decided to forget about this. He just sat down on the floor and ignored it.
That's the thing. It's the same here. It's like they just want to, like, Murphy just wants to lay down. He's just like, look, I'm going to be the curmudgeon. I've had my puppy years. I've been all this. I just want to relax and enjoy. You just cuddle in for the night. and Nala's bouncing back and forth and just bothering him. It's just like, come on, just pick somebody. Let's all relax.
Yeah, and then we would get into this. I love good, solid, muscular dogs myself. Cocker Spaniel's can't wrestle with my Cocker Spaniel because I'll hurt the whole thing. But this pit was like solid muscle and 1 year old and rambunctious. So you get going with it. You put your arm in its mouth, you're wrestling it down, and it's trying to get out. You're holding it, and it's pulling, and and then it would get all riled up, and then she had that dog so well trained at 1 year old. The dog's got a cage. It's right there in the family room that we put. And all you had to do is when the dog got riled up, you just go, Stella, cage. And she stops in an instant, gets off the couch, goes in the cage and lays down and calms down.
Nice.
Which I was like super impressed with.
and that's the thing with all dogs, right? It's all about the training. Yeah, certain breeds are harder than others, but if you get a good dog, you train it right, you take the time and effort, they will do what you say. Our dogs are the same way. They have their cages that they go in. That's where they stay at night. They relax. Here you go. Just go. There's your bed. There's your spot. You're safe and you're good. And that's one of the important things. So it's always.
Let's talk a little bit about cigars, since this is a cigar show. Also, couple of questions on cigars. So let's think about your Drew Estate days. Okay, for a moment. Favorite Drew Estate cigar.
Favorite Drew Estate cigar, and this is an easy one for me because it's one of my top cigars that I've smoked in my lifetime. It is the Norteño limited edition Churchill. Before I even joined Drew, when they first came out in 2015, I bought 8 boxes of that. That cigar, what Willie did in that blend, and the way I love the Norteño blend. I'm a Norteño junkie, still am to this day.
Earthy cigar.
But it's an earthy cigar. They got that San Andreas, but what it has in it, it's hard to find replicated in certain cigars, and especially in the San Andreas. In the second third, I get a note of citrus. I get like a lemony citrus out of it, and it shines, it sings, and it's something that I truly fell in love with when I first smoked it when that cigar came out. And I said, wow. And I said, okay, this is a great stick. And then when it came out in that Churchill size, it smooths it out a little bit because that smoke is a smooth smoke, and that's one of my favorite smokes of all time. So that hands down is my favorite Drew Estate smoke. There's been others that have come close, but nothing can beat that one.
Okay, so and now sticking with Drew Estate for a second, having worked there, I know that you guys get on panels of tasting new blends and giving feedback on what is and not about a Drew Estate cigar that's out there, but just in general, when you're going through that, what is like some of the worst notes you get out of a cigar? And did anybody like a Willie explain to you why maybe that note's there? Okay, and I agree, it's not good.
Well, it does happen. Look, we've gotten smoked blends that they just came in and they were just downright, they didn't work. And a lot of times it comes down to a certain filler leaf that's used, and just that's what imparts a certain note that just doesn't match with the blend. It just didn't come out the way that you would think it was gonna shine. You thought that it might elevate or bring a different nuance to it, and it just didn't work. And there was a few things that we've tried there, and then there's others that you're just like, holy crap, that was amazing. We're like, I still remember the day I was in an office. It was me on, and I think, and then Joey, who's the head of graphic design at Drew, the director of graphic design, and we're sitting there, and we were smoking the wrapper leaf of Liga Privada 10 and H99, just to back you out as the wrapper leaf, and we're like, whoa, there's something here. Like, this is special. This is something that, like, let's try this on a blend. And those were like really cool moments where you're just like, wow, that's like, you knew in a heartbeat, like, whatever this is going to go on, it's going to work and it's going to be beautiful. And that was it's those cool little things that you get to see. And that was, so yeah, you get different things. And like I said, it all kind of just depends, really, right? The little nuances. There's so many nuances in the cigar. It's okay. We should have, Willie would say, oh, we should have used a quarter leaf instead of a half leaf or a full leaf in the, that different kind of just little tweaks to a blend.
Hold on that. that is an important point that you just made, and I want everybody to listen to what he just said. Should he use the quarter leaf instead of a half leaf? Everybody out there has this concept that all these premium cigars are 100% what they call long filler. That does not mean that that inside that cigar is 100% always a full leaf running down the middle. There are parts of them in different places at times that add those nuances that you taste when you get there that aren't in the beginning, that might be in the second half.
Right. And that is the placement of that leaf is so critical.
Yes.
And that is not only just nuances, but it affects the burn, it affects everything on how the cigar works and how, how it tastes. And that is what separates the, a run-of-the-mill cigar, an average cigar, from those that truly are memorable and special. That is one of those unique things out there. So that's, that was a lot of learnings from our side on, from the Drew piece. So
give me two of the worst flavor notes that you just don't like in a cigar when you smoke a cigar, just in general.
So it's funny. I don't like gritty earth. There's times that I want an earthy, you can enjoy an earthy cigar. I don't find Norteño that earthy in terms of like other cigars that I've smoked.
I consider it earthy tar.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's a little bit more fair, but I just don't like things that make me feel like I'm smoking a potted plant.
No, it's earthy tar. There's nothing wrong with the flavor. I'm on your page. I love that cigar, but it's just
It's what I'm saying is that right, but I'm saying in terms of general notes, right? I don't want something that is a potted plant, and I get that out of certain tobaccos or certain cigars, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, this is just earth for pure earth's sake, and it doesn't evolve, it masks everything else that I'm getting in there. And then obviously, look, depends on my mood. I don't necessarily, I'll be honest, is certain Honduran tobaccos I'm not a huge fan of. It just, Honduran is probably my lesser of the three that I like. Out of the non-Cuban realm, just certain notes. But again, it has to be elevated, right? It all comes down to the blend. Like certain CLE cigars are truly amazing. I really enjoy them, but it depends on what I'm getting out of, what's going into it and everything else. So just some of the notes that I get out of there, I'm just not 100% a fan of. But that it's the kind of the funny thing when we talk, when I talk to you guys in the cigar media or anyone else, right? It's one of these funny things. It's like, okay, here's, or when it comes rating season, everybody's palate
is different.
Is different. There is no true number one cigar of the year because it all comes down to the rating panel. Whatever you like, Jimmie, affects what your top 25. I mean, obviously, your top 15s, your 3 top 15 lists. That affects that. How your nuances, what notes you like. Yes, your objective is best you can, but you still have your palate. It's what's best for you. What I always talk to the consumers about is align yourself with reviewers that seem to match your palate.
That's why I try not to. If people that pay attention to what I do, is I don't really ding that, or it's not flavor. So there are bad flavors. There are things that and maybe it's my personal thing. Like I don't like pencil lead. Okay, I just don't like it. Right. But like if it's heavily floral, I'm not dinging it because it's heavily floral. There are people that hate floral in their cigars. Right. Yep. But that doesn't mean it's a bad cigar. It just means it's not for you. All right.
Correct.
Now, did that cigar that's flavored for you, flavorful for you in your palate, did it burn right? Was the ash all flaky, getting all over your nice clothing? Did did it start going wonky on you? Did you have to relight it because it got it started moving off to the side and doing a little off burn or canoe?
Right.
Those are things I focus a lot on because for me, if I'm gonna spend in today's world, $12-15 for a cigar, I expect that cigar to be lit once and never go out. Unless I purposely lay it down long enough for it to go out. I mean, I don't expect it. I don't expect it to go off. I shouldn't have to ever touch the flame to that again, because when you do that, you're adding heat to an existing charcoal end that's going to get into the chamber and it's going to mess everything up.
Right. And then again, it's also the importance, and just to go back for a second, of your accessories and everything that you're using for a minute, is you want to set it off right. You want to start with the right cut. You don't want to obliterate the shoulder because you don't want to have the cigar unravel on you. You don't want any of that to affect the performance of the cigar. Then, as long as you know that, hey, I've started this off right, I gave it a good toasted foot, I've cut it right, now the cigar is going to perform on its own. And that's, what we do is to make sure that, again, that we start everything as perfect as possible, and then let the cigar, go from there, and then let it stand on its own. Let it stand on the merits of the factory and the blender.
So do you guys ever think about, maybe you do, I might not have seen it, but you ever think about doing a good a real proper video on how to ignite your cigar?
We've done some videos.
Don't go like this and turn this thing all the way up like that and just go.
Well, and actually, that's actually a good thing. I'm actually going to be putting out a lot of videos coming out soon. We're going to be cranking on some video work now that I've gotten kind of a good basis going for what I got rocking here at QI. A lot of the things I've been working on have started coming out to fruition. Now we're going to move into a lot of education about how to use our products properly. In your case, yes, how to light a cigar properly, how to properly, we have things about how to fix your lighters, but how do you use them? How do you put this in there? Because God knows, we've all seen it. We walked into a lounge, and like you said, you have a nice creamy Connecticut with a very fragile wrapper. Guy takes a quadruple tabletop lighter, sticks it at the end of the cigar, lights it, and then it's like, oh, this thing's tunneling on me. Well, yeah, because you burned half of it. Just get in there. You got to think about this. Or, oh, my wrapper turned black. And sometimes the guy says, oh, it's terrible that it's performing badly. Or he's just saying, you know what? This is how I spoke my cigar. And you're just looking, it's like, are you?
I just don't. I might roll eyes. I don't say a word to anybody anymore. I even see him on videos and stuff, and I just chuckle. I don't even comment. I see people commenting about it. I'm like, stay away from it. Just
look. Some guys
they do that.
Exactly. You can't fix the habit, but we try to educate the best we can. That's kind of an important part. Our role in this industry, from the media side, ours from the manufacturer side, is to provide that education and try to give people that experience, because if they get the knowledge, they get more enjoyment out of it. This is a hobby that they truly love and appreciate. Let's give them the best experience possible.
Kelvin Brown, one of our viewers, says, what about lighting the foot before the cut?
So I've seen some people do that. Actually, who taught me that technique was Enrique Sanchez. So 1502, really? Yes. So he would do that back in the day when because he would be frequent up in Pennsylvania. He would come up a lot. We did a lot with him with 1502, and he would toast the foot before cutting the cap. And, he would light it and kind of go that way. It was his, unique style. He said that's, a kind of a proper way to toast it. I'd never found that to be my favorite. I like to, to give a nice toasted foot. I like to do the cold draw that I like to, so I can taste what the cigar is, prior to, get a taste of the binder and filler tobaccos and kind of see what notes it brings it out. But he says it does actually enhance the experience. It depends. I've never actually, some people find it that way. So it's something, again, it all goes back to what is your ritual? What is important to you? How do you properly enjoy a cigar? Because at the end of the day, I'm never, like you said, I'm never going to tell you how to enjoy your cigar. I'm never going to tell you what to smoke or how you should enjoy. What you smoke is what you want to enjoy. How you light a cigar, how you cut a cigar is based on how you enjoy it. I will never tell you you're wrong. I will never tell you you're doing it badly. I'm going to educate and say, this is the way we think is the best way to give you the best experience. But at the end of the day, if you find that, toasting it first and then cutting it afterwards is going to bring out flavor notes to you, that's the way you want to rock. And I'm more than happy to be there and say, you do you, man. That's what I want, because it makes you happy. You're paying $12 for this. You're paying anywhere for, $10, $100, maybe even $1 for your lighter, or you're going to sit there with a DuPont with, $3,000 in your pocket, and that's what you want. Or you're going to sit there and then you're going to cut it with an XI3, maybe with a 10,000-year-old dead animal mammoth tusk, or you're going to, but that's what you enjoy. That's what you want. That's what you're going to sit there and say, this is what's making me happy. This is what's bringing me peace and joy and serenity in this moment. And that's how I'm going to enjoy my cigar. And that's all that matters. If you enjoy it, that's the end of the conversation.
There you go. All right, one more question before we get to the wheel, because as we were talking, I was building a wheel.
Thank you, sir.
So, what have you come across most recently? Les, what is it like most recent new released cigar, relatively new released cigar that has you jazzed?
Well, let's see. In terms of, I'm trying to think. There's the most recent releases, I would say at the end of last year. The one that blew me away of new releases, and I'm going to exclude Drew for a minute because I do truly love Blackened, but I will say the Olmec Natural was probably the best cigar that I smoked last year. That was something that was fantastic. There was the Crux, and I apologize to Casey, I'm forgetting which
The Duke Connoisseur.
Yes,
Number
that's it.
4.
That's what
My number one cigar of the year.
and there it is. And that
Fabulous.
was a great,
Fabulous
fantastic smoke. Those two were fantastic smokes that I truly, truly loved. And I said, wow, okay, it takes a lot to get my attention anymore. I mean, I'm still back in my cigar junkie days of I will smoke. I go to certain stores in Miami, or I'll order them online, and I always want to smoke what's new. Because I always want to I will never want to not lose that, like where I lose my pulse of the industry of what's
Right.
smoking. I always want to try something new. Doesn't matter who makes it, where it comes from. It's new. I got to try it. But when I'm smoking a lot, and then it's like, okay, you have my attention. I want to smoke this again. That's become more and more of a rare thing because I know where my palate lies. I know what I like. But when something says, okay, wow, that's kind of something, okay, now I'm into something. Now I think you've done really an amazing job on your blends and everything else. And then I also look at packaging too. I always look at what's unique out there, what people are doing. There's always those.
There's always something cool that people are doing, and that's what makes this industry so cool, because it's art, craft, agricultural science.
100%. I mean, top to bottom, this industry is so unique. It is so fantastic. Of just sitting there watching the craftsmanship, the planning, the beautiful designs of everything, and then you're sitting there like, wow, you're just impressed the amount of work. I mean, and I've lived it, where the amount of work that goes into a project, it's not something that spins up in 4 months.
No,
this is years of planning, of tobacco, of aging, of fermenting, of failed,
of failures,
of failures, 100%. And you watch the failures, but then it's the important part is, did they learn from it? Did they see what didn't work? And then, okay, it was a tweak on the blend. There were so many projects that got so close to a finish line. Then you say, you know what? This isn't right yet. Let's start back from the drawing board. And then you go back again and you say, okay, let's do it. And you do it right. And then when you do it right, holy shit. Now you're like, wow, and that's the important part. The companies that take the time to do it right, that sit down and plan it out, and you sit there and say, wow, they're taking the time. You can tell it makes a difference.
Now I'll tell you I'll give you my latest, most recent. Okay.
Yep.
And we'll talk about the last one. I talked about that in the show last week. That's a whole nother story. But yesterday I was over at Executive Cigar Shop and Lounge here in Melbourne, Florida. It's my local lounge. I try to get out there at least once a month, get out of the house, get out of here, because I live here forever.
Right.
I got to get out. Right. So I went over there, and I always ask the manager, the tobacconist, I say, what's new? And he says, you got to try the new Davidoff Millennial Lancero.
Oh yeah, they just released a couple weeks ago. This week,
oh yeah, so it's like a $29 cigar. With my discount is like $25, and I'm like,
right.
The last time I had the $40 Davidoff year or whatever, and I was completely pissed off that I spent $40 on that cigar. I mean,
right.
I was like, this, no way to just be that price. I took that cigar, I sat down at the bar, I fired that up. Oh yeah. Oh yes. That is a very fine cigar. Expensive in the category. It's up there, right? Yep. You're at 25, 29 if you don't have a discount program or whatever. Right. But yes, I think it's worth that price. Okay.
That-
And it is something that, you got to like Lanceros, and I love Lanceros because they give you the traditional equation, 70% of the flavors in the wrapper in a Lancero or a Corona. Everything else, you can throw that equation out. Right. But that's where that originally came from. And yeah, if you get your hands on one of those, they're flying off the shelf. They literally
Now-
there's a limited number of them too.
I will say this, there's one other smoke that I did smoke recently. I don't know if, I know they announced it. I don't know if it's shipped yet. I was given one. The Camacho Factory Smoke Unleashed 3, the most recent one that they're doing this year. I don't know if it started shipping. I was given one. Shout out to my boy Jack Heyer. Gotta give Jack a little props here. Brand ambassador for Camacho, but I actually smoked that. And look, I'll be honest, I wasn't necessarily a fan of the first two. This one I said, wow, I'm really enjoying the flavors on it. And that is, it was a fantastic smoke. So that's something that if you guys see him out there, give it a try. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so we are I got one more to add to the list, and I'm going to cut it right here.
All right.
I'm not going to be able to type it all in here. Let's just see. David just chimed in. So AVEDISSIAN. So the last guy that I just chimed in, David Evasian, he actually has a really, really cool accessory, which is the cigar holder that you put in, and you could snub it. You've seen that, the cigar stash.
Yeah. Yep.
Fabulous device. Okay, we're gonna put this up on the screen here. Okay, we've got let's see, we got 33 people on the wheel.
Wow,
now.
That's awesome.
Okay? So
Thank
that's
you guys
just for the hour. So
that's
this
awesome for
proves.
tuning in.
So for those that joined in on this on the night, we're going to share this, make sure the sound's going, go here. Okay, so there's the wheel.
Let's give away two, Jimmy. So I'll just walk through one last time what we're giving away, guys. So you're going to get an amazing prize pack. It's going to start with this Xikar limited edition. We only made 200 of these. The XI-1 Flying Tiger, designed after the World War II aircraft. Then you have the Palio Squadra, $10 MSRP, amazing tank triple torch angled lighter. This is a fantastic lighter, guys. It's something that you will light 100 cigars on a single fill. And then finally, you're going to get one of our 5-count cigar caddies. You get a nice travel humidor that's going to be able to take with you, take your stash with you, carry your accessories, light it all up. So that's what you're going to get. We'll pick two winners tonight.
All right, here we go. So we see the wheel. Make sure we got to take out some duplicates here. So as I typed it in, see if there's any other duplicates in here.
I'm not seeing that on my side.
I think that's it. I only had one dupe. Okay, so that's it. So we got 32. So
Let's
32 on the wheel. We're gonna go. Oh, we got to give some shuffles. Got to do this fair.
There you go.
Some shuffles, and then we're gonna give Joe a spin. All right. The first winner is going to be Michelle crept right in there. Look at that. Holy crap. Congratulations, Michelle. Michelle, text me and I'll make sure, text Joe address. We'll get that out to you. We're going to remove Michelle from the wheel. Okay. We're going to give us some more shuffles here. Okay. This is for the second one. Love blues, man.
Love music.
Alan Gold.
There we go.
Okay, Alan. Next, send out a message and we'll get that out to you. Let's come back to Joe. That was Awesome.
Loved it, Jimmy.
Fantastic. What a
Congrats
great
to the
way to run
winners.
a show. Awesome.
Oh.
Don't forget, people, get out there, go to stogiepress.com, hit the Climb for Autism, go down there, click that link, scan that QR code, throw a 10 bill in there. You do it net between now and Monday. There's going to be a wheel. We're going to be giving things away, and we'll continue to do that as we approach July for the big climb. If you've got a shop, shout it out at your shop at an event. Just take a moment, shout it out, let people know what's going on, collect the money in the shop, put it under the shop name. Whoever raises the most money, shop, group, individual, is going to get a branded picture at the top of Mount Fuji as the sun rises over Japan with their branded swag or whatever it is right there as the top of the heap of helping to raise money for autism. So get out there and do it. Pass the word. Let's make this happen. As a cigar community, we can do amazing things. Joe, I'll give you the last word.
Jimmy, thank you for having us, guys. I appreciate it. Look, we want to be a part of your journey. We're here at QI. We're your one true source for all of your needs. So humidors, lighters, cutters, Xikar, Palio, humidification. We got Hydra set. We have all the different options, cigar caddy. We're here as part of your life. So we want to be a part of it. Reach out to us on social media, give us a follow, go to our websites, check them out, Xikar.com. We got some amazing deals on there. And buy your Xikar at your retailers, your local shops. Make sure you buy any of your QI products. Thank you so much for having us tonight. Really appreciate you.
So you can go right here to qualityimporters.com and you'll see all the different products that they carry. They, as Joe mentioned in the beginning, if you want to, order a small amount of these, you can contact them. They go small amounts to large amounts, obviously wholesaling to all the retailers where they get great deals on that. But even as a group or something, if you want to brand something, you can work with Joe and they'll do branding for you and everything. So check it out. I'd like to thank Joe Gro very much for taking the time out of his day to talk about Quality Importers. Like, thank all the sponsors that we have for taking to the nub. They've been loyal. They've been coming back. So the show's been running 4 years and getting better every time I learn.
That's what matters, Jimmy. We always learn, always be learning, always be innovating.
All right, folks, that's the show for tonight. We'll catch you next week. I'll have a guest. I'll be announcing that early in the week, hopefully. And everybody have a great Easter Sunday. And if you don't celebrate Easter, just, have an egg sandwich or something like that. Anyway, so that's it. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for joining.